when I feel a bit buggy. I look at the floor, maybe need a new ruggy. Scratch at, I'll get some beers and get chuggy. Nah, man, I know what I need, some old man huggy. Old man huggy. Some old man huggy. Put your headphones on for practice audio.
Recording in progress.
What it do, what it do, what it do. It is your boy, and Bruce Schultz. Okay, the Biggity Two. So who am I with? As always, Justin Hugger, aka Old Man Huggy. Talk shit or get off the pod. Episode 171. Someone get these spiders off this motherfucking plane. Welcome, motherfuckers.
Nah, man. I did 172.
You said 171 part 2.
Oh, okay. Or 172, 171 part 2. Okay. I labeled it as 172. Either way, it's part 2. It's racist spiders on a plane part 2.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at the notes.
Well, I know. I'm all over the place, man. I'm all over the place today.
For the audience, the audio audience, we were live streaming this episode last week, and I just happened to drink maybe a root beer that had maybe, I don't know, some medicinal in it, and then I started sweating and I got pale, and
you shut down. It's funny, it's still up, so I still have it up. I left it up. I was like, this is hilarious, because you start out and you're like, you're kind of on it, and then we get to questions and you're like, and it's just like,
dude, I was struggling from the jump. Like before we even started recording, you were looking for like a meme. I'm like dying over here. I'm like, you're looking for a fucking meme? I was like,
oh, I didn't realize that you were
I know.
You know,
I thought I was gonna be able to make it, but no. Anyways, how are things?
You're here now, and that's what matters. Things are good, man. I had my birthday Monday, so I turned 51. So I tell everybody that works for me, I'm just like, oh, I turned 50. Just because it fucks with them, they're like, no. It just throws them off. So it's like a mystery.
Like the black don't crack.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just perpetuating the myth. So it's like I feel like
It is a myth. Because I was watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills today, and this chick was talking about having a baby, and I was like, you're way too old to have a baby. And she was 45. So she probably is too old, but like I thought she was way older, and she was black. Her name's Boz. Shout out.
Now, what I will say, well, black can crack. Asian don't raisin. Asians don't age. They're like, you know, for the most part. It's true.
No, I agree. Except for there is a Snapchat filter. You can look like an old Asian man who looks like he's aged.
Well, okay. Now
I mean, think about like old Asian dudes. Dude.
I do think Asian men hit a wall. So the Asian men, but the Asian women, they like hit, they stop. Like, and even the Asian man that looks old, you don't know. No, I'm just, is it though? We're just saying that out of everybody that ages the best,
raisin,
it had to rhyme. It had to rhyme. Black don't crack.
You guys own that though, because like I'll say that freely all the time in front of black people, and not once is somebody offended. They're like always like, "That's true.
You need
That's
to.
true. That's right."
I at the poker room
I say it all the time
to
every black person there.
the mysterious high dollar high table Asian woman that you play against sometimes.
Yeah.
You need to say Asian don't raisin and see what she says. Just make it, drop it subtly.
What if she is like 60?
Then dude, you're in. She's like, yeah. Then she'll always be like, hey, he's got to play at our table. I got you. Like, so, she'll be like, hey, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Nah, yeah. Like, no, like shit. Her dad like owns like Nokia or something.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, no. So I'm doing good. Did that. My grandma, cause me and my Gigi have the same birthday. She turned 94. So FaceTime with her.
Shout out.
Talked to her for a while because she's out in LA. So saw her and my
I mean,
sister.
what does she have to do to get triple G? Like, why does she have to be Gigi? She's 94. You can't give her.
You can't call her G. No, that's too much.
Triple OG.
No, that's too much. I think she'd probably not be into that. But she's crushing it, man. Gardening, doing everything, still moving around. Like, she's hanging out. She was drinking wine and eating sushi at 94. Just vibed out. I was here for it.
I was about to hype you up, like, because my mom's parents, my grandparents, they lived both into their 90s. But then I realized she's not blood related, so.
Yeah.
So you don't get the nice. But you don't know. You could have 100, like, whatever your bloodline is.
Yeah.
Is unknown, but we can't attribute this 90.
No, I mean,
to you, to a long life for you.
And real talk, she sent me a card, like a week or so ago. This woman has got. I mean, she's like, I have a hard time seeing. Best cursive like I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's crazy. So grandma's on point.
What's cursive?
It's an old way of writing where all your letters connect and are loopy. But so shout out grandma, because she's just like living her best life. Like I said, eating sushi, drinking wine at like 7 o'clock with my sister and my aunt. And Sarah's awesome, so she's holding her down out there. Made sure she had a good birthday, so it was nice, man. And I've been off for 2 days. About to get this house next week. So next episode, I will have finalized and bought the house by next episode. So I'm really pumped about that too. So it's just sunshine and vibes and tornadoes in Dallas. There was a tornado in Irving. I think there was one somewhere else. I don't know. Keller. I don't know. But there was a tornado in Irving. F1.
Brr.
F1. If that
it's cold in here. There must be some
tornadoes in the atmosphere.
Thank you.
And we need some Bill Paxton up in here to stop it. It's the only man. How are you? How's life? Poker room tales, anything like that?
I haven't been back.
Okay.
I'll make a comeback next week. Come get me.
You heard it here first, folks.
It was raining out here in California today, and it's gonna be raining all next week.
Good.
Yeah, I guess.
You guess? What are you talking about? Every time it's like we're in a drought. Everything's.
We were out of the drought, and then.
Oh, Trump got you out of the drought. That's right.
Trump. He opened up the shit, and he wasted like 1.3 billion gallons of water, dude, that we needed. It's fucking crazy. It's all gone. Just because he wanted to do that.
Nah, man, he was helping. You got to release the water. You got to rake. Yes, dude, you got to rake. You don't know if that's gonna work because you never do it. So how do you know?
Well, because I saw what happened.
Come on, I mean, all right.
It's gone.
Yeah, it went back to the earth, and now maybe the earth's not as mad, and it won't smite you liberals in California with wildfires. That's what Trump says.
Well, good for him.
Well, that's good. I mean, let us know about the comeback. Please say that to the woman at the poker table. That would be the funniest shit ever.
I don't know if I'm going to, but
That'll be definitely a good story by the next pod, if you choose to say that, especially if it's
well, I don't
arbitrary.
even know if she like. To be honest, I don't know how often she's like. I don't know if she's just there all the time. Like if she, because like if, the high rolling that we're talking about seems like you would be around like other rooms as well. Like the players wouldn't be like, well, that's not true. There are some guys that are there all the time playing at the high stakes table.
I don't know. Well, we started. I had some therapy questions last time. I think I only kept maybe one of them from last time because we went through three of them, and and then you're like, we'll be back with the last therapy question and articles, and then we called them tonight. So therapy question number one: what is one time you've helped a random person? Now this should be a memorable story where like you had an opportunity, you did something that was kind of wild, but you did something good for somebody else.
What's your story?
So I think I have two. One of them, this was when I was living in Austin. I was waiting tables and I was walking to the weed man's house, and he lived like in West Campus. So I was walking up Guadalupe over by that Whataburger, and then I took a right, and there's these like asylum prison looking apartment units. I'm like, there's like the Block and 26 and all these goofy little things in that West Campus area where it's really small, like kind of over by where Sticky was. And I'm walking, and there's 5 guys. They're all standing around this fucking car that's running, and they're freaking the fuck out because they've locked their keys in this car. So they're all spazzing out because this car's running. It's almost out of gas, and they're just like freaking out. It's like 2 like kind of frat bro-ish dudes, and then these 3 Middle Eastern guys. But there's like this group of 5 friends. So I'm walking by, and I'm like, hey, go get a coat hanger and a screwdriver, and in about like 5 minutes I was able to unlock their car and get their keys out for them. And then I just like they were like, what? And I just kind of walked off into the distance and went and bought weed. But for them it was like super and I never saw those guys again. But in the moment, I think they were obviously dressed up. They were going to do some shit, and I was walking to go get some weed and just broke into somebody's car for them to get their keys out of it while it was running, and then just kind of disappeared into the fray. It's like a Batman moment, like a weed Batman story.
She's breaking into cars and shit now?
No, well, I mean, I used to have a roommate when I was living in Denton, and he would perpetually lock his keys in his car, like 4 times in one day, lock his keys in his car. They'd fall out of his pocket, and he would lock his car door. And he basically figured out how to use a screwdriver and prop his window open without damaging it, and then get his keys. He became extremely good at breaking into his car. This is when I was living with Felix, and I basically learned how to fish him out, or go and like press the button and like open the car door. But because they lived right there, so I was like, go inside and get me a coat hanger. And this kid ran in there, got a coat hanger, came back, and I was like, whoosh. And they were sitting there. And then when I got it, everyone freaked out. It was like this big bro moment. It was kind of cool. And then I was like, all right, see ya, and just kind of walked off.
All right, one just came to me. My first concert, Blink-182, Newfound Glory, Midtown. Side stage, Mest. Mest is playing.
Hell yeah.
Crowd's going crazy. Like, it's like a mosh pit.
Yeah.
Girl gets up on the stage, jumps off. Everybody moves out of the way not catch her. I see this, and she hits the ground, but I like went and I caught like her head from hitting the ground.
Damn. White Knight. Look out, dude. White Knight.
Like she's a black chick jumping off the stage at a Mess concert?
Maybe. That'd be an edgy chick.
No.
Yeah, there's always opportunities where you can like do something nice for somebody like randomly, or you'll be like, that's like the NPCs of life. Like, it's like, oh, like, do you try to catch this person or not? Or like, hey, dude, in that moment, I could have just kept walking, but I was like, oh, what's up? Oh, you locked your keys in your car, shit. And I was like, oh, well, hey, man, like, go try to get me like a screwdriver or like a fucking coat hanger. Let me see. I think I could probably get him. And the guy's like, no shit, bro. No way. Fuck yeah. I'm like, hell yeah, dude, whatever. And then I
That
get
sounds
him.
like a setup, though, bro. Like you're going in there.
No, because it was their car and the keys are running. I'm just sitting outside, like, and this cab drove by. And cabs, sometimes they have jimmies where they can unlock it, like what cops carry, because cops will carry jimmies sometimes, which are like thin little piece of metal that you put in your window and you can unlock it. And we asked this guy, he was like $100. So while I'm trying to get the keys, they're asking this cab guy, like, hey, do you have a jimmy? Can we use it to get this out? And he's like, yeah, give me $100. And I was like, fuck this guy. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That's such an asshole move.
My mom gives me AAA as renews my AAA every year for Christmas. And it's like been on her account, so it says like I'm like been a member for like 47 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in my name. And I'm like 10 months ago when I was like first started off in like the pool, you know, symphony game. I locked my key in my car, and then I hit up AAA. Like I'm like fuck, and I could just see it on like the seat, but like and I'm like, I hit up AAA, and it said that this is like the first stop of the day that so it's like 8 a.m. They said they're gonna be there at 1 p.m. And I was like, what? And I'm like, no, like that was like through the app, and I'm like, fuck this, and I'm like, and then I call, and I get somebody on the phone, and I'm like, yo, like y'all said you're gonna be here at 1. I'm like, I'm at work, and they're like, oh, okay, hold on, and then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, this dude just shows up, and he's got like this like device where he like sticks it in the car door, and then he blows it up like with the air.
Yeah.
It's like it looks like a blood pressure machine type,
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, and then it just props your door open, and then he just like and then just hits it, like unlocks it, and he's like, "Cool, dude, later," and he just leaves because like AAA just had like they had my shit like already, and so I didn't pay anything, and I was like, boom, and I had told my boss too like that I was gonna be till like 1 p.m. He's like, what the fuck, and I was like way out like the valley, and then yeah, and then I was like, and then I texted him back. I'm like, nope, the guy's already here, dude. I'm out. And, like I was like, whew, because that's like a buster look. Like it's like first. Early on the job, I locked my keys in the car and I can't get it out till like the afternoon, and I've got my entire route to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've told you about my theory of having like an army of homeless men on your side, like $1 at a time. Like there's these guys, they're always kind of hanging out because I'm by the train tracks where they're close or adjacent kind of to where I am. So there'll be some transient dudes. So like if I have clothes I'm gonna donate, and they're all clean, I give them to those guys. I'm like, hey, here you go, because I see them all the time at like the stoplight. And now whenever I'm at the stoplight leaving work and they're all hanging out, they're like, hey, they're all like super nice to me. And I'm like, man, if I was ever getting like robbed anywhere in close vicinity and one of these guys saw me, they'd like run up in one of my t-shirts and like help me out. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you should always be cool to the homeless community around you, because you never know. What if I'm walking home, I get mugged? And
Well, I think how about this? You should just be cool to everybody.
True, but what I'm saying,
all lives matter, Joseph.
That
all lives matter.
What I'm saying is every week it'd be like, okay, I'm gonna give like a $20 bill to one of the random guys at the stoplight. I can't give money every day, but every once in a while I'll just hook them up. Or like I said, if I'm going through stuff, I don't need these clothes, rather than giving them to Goodwill so they just turn around and sell them to somebody else, I'm like, hey man, like here's some like jeans and socks and shit and shoes, and they're always super nice and real appreciative of it. I'm just hoping one day if someone tries to mug me in the parking lot, one of those guys see it, they're like, hey, that's the guy who hooks me the fuck up, I gotta go like have his back. That was my approach in Austin too, because you'd see the same guys all the time. Or maybe you just don't fuck with me because I'm like, hey, that guy gave me a hoodie last week. You know?
It's real talk.
No, I'm just saying. It's not a bad idea. Better than being rude to them for sure.
I agree.
Therapy question number 2. Who inspired you the most when you were a kid?
Jackie Chan.
Really? Jackie Chan. What was it? Was it Rumble in the Bronx? First
No,
Strike? Mr.
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour. Oh, okay. So, like, Americanized Jackie Chan.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's when I knew I could make it in America.
Oh, my Jackie Chan. You're like, there's a place
Yeah.
for me here, too.
Asian no raisin.
I can cut out.
Asian no
Yeah,
raisin, dude.
that's true. Although I do feel like Jackie Chan's getting up there in age. He's getting pretty old.
That's true. What about you?
This will be funny. I was thinking about this when I was driving back from my meeting. One of them, I had to do a book report. Then that's really what a lot of my favorite people were based off of when I was a kid. Was like if I had to do tons of research on something, but I had to do a book report on somebody, an important figure in American history, and I picked Colin Powell. So when I was a kid, I thought
Colin Powell.
I thought Colin Powell was cool as shit, bro. I was like, this dude's
my
got it
God,
figured
bro.
out. I was
He's
like,
cuck. Get him over in the cuck chair.
it was like Desert Storm, General, fucking badass.
Condoleezza Rice sounds like a Mexican dish.
Yeah, I thought. And so whenever I did my book report, I picked somebody. Of course, my teacher's like, that's a great person to pick. Because it's like some like black, like, you know, very palatable, conservative black man for sure.
He's one of the good ones.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. That's why we let him in the military. He was one.
I know what you mean, though. I did a book, a research project when I was like, I don't know, fucking 5th or 6th grade on who's the fucking point guard for the Pistons back in the day? Isaiah Thomas.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So then I just was riding with Isaiah Thomas for a while, like just because I did like I found that book in the library the day that we had to like pick like somebody. Also Malcolm X.
I did a report in 8th grade where we had to write a paper, do like these 5 different things about a historical figure, and I picked Rosa Parks. And one of my things was I used the song Rosa Parks by Outkast as an example. And like
Example of what?
Of just Rosa Parks. I don't know. And I got a C+. C+.
Oh my god, I just had a flashback right now. In college.
Miss Fisk's class.
And remember, your boy was in college for 10 years, so not that long ago. I did a whole presentation on how Diddy became the first billionaire rapper. In
Damn, somebody's
marketing
like,
class.
Somebody's like, remember that guy who did that Diddy paper? I don't know
No,
how
no
he
presentation.
feels. I wonder how he feels now. He's a billionaire.
Feel fucking great, bro.
Love now. What would have been crazier is if it was like Diddy is a fucking weirdo report, and everybody was like, "That's impossible." And now they think
it was like a hype reel.
You'd be like, "Dude, this guy's like Claire Danes in Homeland. Like, he's fucking badass, dude. He knew about Diddy before everybody else did."
He's an RAPER. He didn't leave out the P, did he?
Get out of here. That's terrible. But yeah, Colin Powell for sure. Dug some Colin Powell. Also did a report on Alexander the Great, so I thought that
shout out
Alexander the Great was just like the coolest,
legendary stick man. Okay.
Well, because whenever you'd learn, they'd always
Legendary,
reference back to it. So I was like, that's cool. And he kind of conquered the entire world, or known world at one point.
Conquered that battle.
True. That is true.
Love sodomy.
But, you know, they didn't talk about that too much in the textbook.
Well, they should have, because he probably died from, like, you know, some STD or something.
I think he was poisoned, actually.
Well, yeah, same diff. Poisoned by his addiction of love.
There was a period of time I was real into Sean. I thought Sean Kemp was awesome. And then he started doing coke.
I mean, he was awesome.
Yeah, he was.
And so what if he was doing coke? So was your boy Michael Irvin.
Never my boy.
Yeah, I know.
Never. I was always like, this guy's ridiculous.
Hashtag not my boy.
Yeah, hashtag not my boy. Yeah, I can't really think of anyone else that's not like some sports person. or anything like that.
Rappers,
Yeah, I mean,
for me at least.
yeah, but that definitely came like,
Puff Daddy.
well, like the business side. You'd be like, dude, this guy's crushing.
No, dude,
This
I
guy's
was fucking
crushing it.
kidding me. No, no.
He's got
bro.
Sean John now.
No, dude, I was West Coast. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you Diddy, dude? Get the fuck out of my face. Dancing all up in the videos, dude.
True, true. Therapy question number 3. What do you think is pivotal for the world to progress in a positive way or direction? What do you think, if you could pick one thing that we all work on as a world unit?
That we all believe in a common set of facts. You know, like there is a truth and real shit. You know, as like because right now I feel like there's like in a bubble where it's like, you know, people like we can't even agree that like vaccines don't cause autism. You know,
Because Jenny McCarthy says they do.
right. Like, so I think, yeah, because I feel like disinformation's about like it's already crazy, and now that we got, you know, the apricot Ayatollah in the White House, like he's just gonna keep pumping disinformation at us.
Yeah. So the reestablishment of truth, or like, I guess.
Yeah, like because like Trump's whole, or not even Trump's, but just autocrats, like their move is to get you to not trust the media, and so so you know, it's like I remember the first time somebody said to me, they go like as like they were like a Republican. There's this girl I hooked up with her mom and her, but then turns out that they were like super MAGA later down the road. She said, "I bet you fucking all you watch is CNN," and I was like, "What?" Like that was her way of saying I was like a liberal. And I remember the first time I heard that, I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I was like, "You could have said like MSNBC," but that was like back when Trump just started talking shit about CNN, and I'm like, CNN was like just down the fucking middle, like as far as I knew, like I was like, I don't even watch CNN. I've never even seen CNN at that time. I wasn't like I literally just didn't watch it. I was just like all in on MSNBC, like, and I am liberal, but like so. And then I was like, damn, dude, like his rhetoric, that was like my aha moment. I'm like, his rhetoric really changed the game where people who like CNN was just like the dorky fucking news. And then like, he's just like, no, fake news, which was all about Russia's fake news. And then he just flips it. And then now everybody's like, oh, CNN's like this liberal fucking bastion. I was like, that's crazy. And then people don't trust it. And it's like, dude, they were just like reporting the facts. And so it's just if people like my mom doesn't like trust normal shit now, but she'll like trust some random shit she gets sent on Facebook. And I wish that shit would end. Like if we just get back to like the Walter Cronkite on the fucking TV telling us the real facts and just the facts, man.
Yeah. No, I mean that's whenever you put it that way, that would honestly
solve every other issue.
It would just change a lot. It would change the persuasion game and how it's like someone's always trying to sell you something at this point, or
right.
Sell you on their idea. It's like
and tyrants win when the population is not as educated, you know, like when they're not like aware of what's going on. Because if the population is aware of what's going on, they're not going to stand up for it, you know.
Yeah.
So the whole point is just it doesn't matter if like you don't trust Trump. As long as you don't trust anybody, that's what matters, you know. It's like, yeah, we're not trustworthy, but neither are these guys. That's what they want to do, but it's not true. You can't let them win.
Gotta fight the power.
That's right.
I mean, that kind of takes it, honestly. Because there's nothing... Yeah. the whole approach to a lot of these conversations or conversations we're seeing, the way everybody talks, regardless of side of the aisle, honestly, when you see like Congress or the Senate or the House or anybody, everything is arguing their point, trying to get their point across, not really necessarily discussing that much stuff of substance. And whenever they do, then there's always something else that's the polar opposite of whatever you have to say. And it's just like frustrating as fuck to watch and listen to. Now, granted, to me as a liberal, the conservatives are pretty full of shit right now. The Republicans are doing some pretty wild, out of bounds shit. But I mean, to get to the point that we're at, to where we have Trump can just sit up there and make shit up and lie about everything, and it's tolerated. Everybody's played a role.
Everybody stands up and claps like a fucking puppet, dude. Like, it's insanity.
It's like Palpatine.
Yeah, dude. The fucking Paprika Palpatine.
The Paprika Palpatine. Talk about a mouthful, goddamn. That's good. The caucasity of that orange motherfucker.
Seriously, dude. The okra oligarch.
The okra oligarch? Kate, how is he okra?
Okra. Look it up. The color. It's his color.
No, okra is green.
No, that's okra. Okra, the color, dude. Your lady knows. Trust me.
I'll have to Google it.
The butternut baron, dude. The copper Kaiser.
The copper Kaiser's good. I do like that one.
I was spitballing with my AI the other day.
Just vibing with my AI.
On Trump alliteration.
Therapy question number 4. Does America's true crime obsession have a negative impact on society as a whole, or as us as a whole? By that I mean, like, you know, Fear Thy Neighbor, Southern Fried Homicide. I mean, I love those shows where it's like, all right, here's
I don't ever listen to them, but like, I have a take on the culture. But I mean, what are you saying? What
do you think
impact?
Well, do you think that has a negative impact on people as a whole? If
what's the negative part?
Would it be? I mean, I do think in some ways
what are the harms?
It desensitizes people to a lot of things, for sure.
What are you saying?
You wouldn't say that if someone sits there and watches true crime all the time, like the murder shows, or watches Nancy Grace all the time.
No. What? Okay, dude, you sound like a old person talking about video games.
No, I'm asking a question. What's your thought
Playing
on
Call of Duty all day.
Well, no. I mean, I don't think that's as bad.
What's the difference? Like, it's a both ridiculous statement. Like,
well, I'm asking a question. I'm not saying I agree with it.
So how about this?
I do think it desensitizes people to some of that stuff.
Do you think that it also has like copycat shit? Do you think people just like all the Republicans say, like, it's like because we talk about trans shit all the time. It's really Republicans who talk about it all the time, to be honest. But like, because we talk about it all the time, it's like why kids are thinking that they're trans and they're not actually trans. Do you think if true crime's in the culture all the time, that people are gonna start murdering when they wouldn't normally be murderers?
I mean, there's a probability of that. I couldn't think.
Is there any evidence of that?
There have been people that have said they've been inspired by watching that shit, or like my plan was to do something that I saw. So yeah, there are some cases.
Well, do you think there's also could be people enough people recruited because they're inspired by it, stopping criminals that offsets it?
Because there's a guy who wanted to create his own, basically wanted to be Dexter, so then put out like a Craigslist ad for people to show up to audition for this movie, where he built out like a little garage space with plastic and shit, and like fucking killed this dude, and was like, I wanted to be Dexter. Like, yeah, like that shit's crazy. That shit happens. There's certain shows that are cheesy, and there's some that are super hardcore where I'm like, I can't watch this show because it gives me anxiety.
I don't watch any of that type of shit.
I enjoy the storytelling aspect of it.
Like the true crime documentaries is what we're talking about. Or, like I was thinking podcasts. That you were
Well,
saying.
podcast documentaries. I mean, there's a whole
Like,
culture of it.
would you say that it popped off with Brandon Nessie? Is that his name? What was the first like true crime documentary that sparked it all?
Well, Making a Murderer was good. They're thinking
That's what is that what I'm thinking of?
with the what's his name,
It's like the kids.
Avery and Brandon Dassey.
Yeah. Okay, so was that was like the pinnacle one? I feel like
That
I watched that one.
that definitely like put it on a different echelon, and you could
You know
binge
what
watch it. So
you
it
know
was
what it's like?
peak Netflix.
You know, it's like when Chris Moneymaker played in the World Series of Poker,
Yeah, and everybody
and
was
then
obsessed.
everybody started playing poker.
Yep.
That I feel like Making a Murderer was like blew up, and then it just started a whole fucking like saturation of the genre.
Well, there was a lot of those already that existed. Obviously, but Making a Murderer, like put it on Netflix. It was a big deal. It was something nobody really heard of. That was like peak Netflix, so people were just binge watching it. So it was multiple episodes, and that storytelling, and it's so good. They present it a certain way where you're basically rooting for the guy that's in prison the whole time. Being like, this guy totally got framed. So they do a really good job, and then then it started to snowball. But that's different than, Fear Thy Neighbor and stuff like that. I think it can make people paranoid as shit for sure. I do think it can desensitize people, or maybe potentially inspire people, because you see where serial killers have been inspired by other serial killers. We have copycats that way. So maybe they see a story and they're like, that's pretty cool. Like
I heard this like a little sizzle on like NPR, or on a podcast commercial or something, and it was like this chick started a true crime podcast,
Yeah.
and now she makes like $40 million a month, like on her true crime network of podcasts that she has.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good true crime podcasts. Some are funny, some are like really good, and there's like some really intense ones where they break down all the facts, and the ones that aren't solved are always the most interesting.
Do you feel like that we should be doing reporting on our own, firsthand reporting?
We could. I'd totally
know.
be down to do something like that. Oh, like that. That's a
Where we're like bringing something to the table, so just aggregating.
yeah. We could easily do that. Okay, I don't know what that eyebrow raise means, but sure. And then I know we have articles, but I figured we would just talk about. There's been some things that have gone on since the last episode, with State of the Union last night.
Why aren't they calling it the State of the Union?
What were they calling it?
Presidential address to like the Congress.
It was labeled a State of the
A
Union.
joint session of Congress. I didn't see the word State of the Union anywhere I looked.
Maybe they couldn't call
But
it.
it was exactly what it was.
Yeah.
They can call it that. I mean,
Oh,
maybe Trump's like, I don't like it.
We're not unioned. No
State of what
unions.
union?
There's no unions. If
No
they're
union.
if they
I'm on
union,
my third marriage.
if anybody unionizes, we'll euthanize them.
And Elon doesn't like unions.
Dude, what a fucking dweeb, dude. That was just a cringe fest. He's just lying out of his ass. Transgender mice. Like, oh my god, this motherfucker.
I know, and then he tried to put the African country on blast.
Yeah.
And Elon was just, I don't even know what I gotta say that, how to pronounce it. Elon.
Mozambique.
No. It's like Leshanoko. Elon, it's like right next to South Africa. And Elon was just there, like, with meeting with the prime minister, like, last year, trying to, like, shore up some business deals with him. So it's like, he's like, nobody's ever heard of it. It's like, your fucking
And
boy.
he's like,
over
nobody
there.
knows where that is.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, literally nobody, it's like, ever, knows where that is or ever heard of it. And then It's like, dude, your boy over in like in the Nazi tank commander outfit, like Elon's like was just there, like like sucking at the teat because that's all Elon does is get government money and then doge everybody. Doge, you got doged, but like give me the money.
Yeah, it was pretty rough to watch and listen to. Um,
I watched it for you guys. You
it's
didn't have
very
to.
very antagonistic, which you could expect.
Wild.
But you know,
Calling he hit Elizabeth Warren with the Pocahontas shit.
and then kicked out Al Green.
Al Green. Love and happiness.
Then it was like, oh, there's the girl who lost in the swimming. There was a girl who got hit by a volleyball in the face by a transgender volleyball player, I guess.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
Like, I was like, what is going on? But then, I mean, a lot of those were like, he started bringing up certain stories to try to provoke the people on the Democrats to stand up. So then he brought in all these people to be like, oh, look, and they still won't stand. Like, it's so corny. It's so cheesy. The whole thing is so petty and dumb. It's absolutely ridiculous. Whenever they were showing the shots of everybody standing, obviously everybody on the Republican side was standing up with everything. But when you looked at the gallery, it was a little more sparse. There wasn't as many people in the gallery like standing up and clapping.
Yeah, for sure. The Democrats had signs, and it was a disruptive for sure. MAGA Mike Johnson, who has an app with his son where they monitor each other's porn intake online. Just want to make sure. Covenant eyes. Covenant eyes.
Well, they don't watch porn. They see each other's
They
internet
see, if
history.
they do or they don't.
Yeah.
They get to see it. MAGA Mike Johnson kicked out Al Green. No, he before the speech, he like put the mic, he like twisted it down so that you couldn't hear what him and JD were saying, but MSNBC like heard like a little bit of what they were saying, and they like hit it, they gave it to Rachel Maddow, and she's like, what? JD Vance goes, I think it's a good speech. I just don't know how you're gonna do it for 90 minutes. And I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be 90 minutes, and it was, dude.
Yeah.
Painful. And yeah, dude, he's just up there fucking lying, like this whole shit about like that we spent like $300 billion on Ukraine, and it's like, okay, not true at all. And like the Europeans have spent only 100. The Europeans have spent actually a little bit more than us. It's like close to 50-50. It's a little bit more actually on the European side, and 90% of the money that we've spent has just gone to the fucking contractors here in the United States. We just like offloaded all of our old shit, which we wanted to get rid of anyways, and bought new shit from American fucking like weapons manufacturers. It's a fucking jobs program, dude. Like so it's like so disingenuous, and it's not 300, it's not 500, it's 160 billion dollars, over 3 years. We spent 900 billion dollars a year on the fucking military, dude.
Yeah.
But we've got a fucking a Russian in the fucking
then
White House.
He was pandering to the Supreme Court that was sitting in front of him. And then today they ruled 5-4 that they had to release $2 billion in frozen
money
aid.
that we owed.
Yeah.
Like, of services already provided in foreign aid, shit that that already did. Isn't that like the most Trump shit you've ever heard? Is just like stiff a bunch of people like who already did work, and he's like, oh no, I'm not gonna pay you.
So now Twitter,
like his specialty.
Twitter is a barnyard on fire with people just grilling Amy Coney Barrett because she voted in favor of like paying out that $2 billion. So people are grilling her like, oh, she's a liberal, she's a plant, we got to impeach her, we need to get rid of her. People are just spinning online.
I saw a slowdown video of
her giving him the dirty stank face.
Yeah.
She definitely gave him the stank face.
It's Because when I was watching in real time, it looked like she was like, "Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Whatever you say, boss."
Well, she was like looking at him, then he kind of was out of her line of sight, and she gave him a stank
Oh,
face.
I saw.
She
it
looked,
later.
she looked
Yeah.
like she was like, "What you're doing is disgusting."
It's insane that she has to go through this. But guess what? She doesn't, because she has a lifetime appointment. So do whatever you want. That's what I don't get, why they're like beholden. I get why Clarence Thomas is, because his fat ass has got to get like yacht trips and road trips in the RV.
He wasn't there. He wasn't there.
Yeah, who gives a fuck, dude?
But
Anthony Kennedy was there, who gave up his Senate seat for fucking like Brett Kavanaugh so that Trump could select somebody. Dude, what?
yeah, he definitely pandered to them and made some comments that like you probably just shouldn't make.
You're not supposed to talk to these fools at all. It's supposed to be like an independence, you know? Like same with the military. Like they just sit there, like just don't fucking talk to them. They're there, but they're not gonna clap. You know? And same with the fucking Supreme Court. And then instead he's over there like glad handing them.
With the great ruling that they gave us, thank you for that. Like you can't say that shit.
Yeah, that could be, that's prejudice. Like, I mean, that could be used against you in a court of law.
No, saying all sorts of stupid shit.
And Kash Patel was sitting with a fucking what's his name's wife, the insurrectionist and justice, Sam Alito.
Oh really? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the upside down
Kash Patel,
flag.
with the director of the FBI is hanging out with the insurrectionist wife of the Supreme Court Justice Sam Alito, dude. It's like, what?
Mind blowing. You ready to get into articles?
Sure.
Articles.
Okay, from the Sunday Times by David Chirac out of Madrid, Spain. Tarantula attacks pilot during critical moment of takeoff. There were hairy scenes in the cockpit as the co-pilot tried to fend off the spider with one of the plane's manuals. The passenger jet was at maximum speed, and seconds from taking off when the pilot let out a scream. A large hairy spider had just bitten him on his hand. The incident happened last Friday when the Iberia Airlines Airbus A320 bound for Dusseldorf was about to take off from Madrid airport. He screamed when he felt the pain, said a source quoted by La Voz de Galicia newspaper. But he maintained the controls while the co-pilot quickly took charge of the aircraft to activate the autopilot as soon as possible, the report continued. Chaotic scenes then played out in the cockpit as the co-pilot tried to use what was at hand to fend off what appeared to be a tarantula. Seeing that the spider then ascended the commander's arm, he took one of the plane's manuals and with it tried to crush the spider, at least try to push it away from the pilot. The alarming incident at the most critical moment of the flight, with no possibility of aborting takeoff, was not reported to passengers. The spider was large and hairy and emerged unexpectedly, biting the commander at the most critical moment of the plane's takeoff in its rotation, when the landing gear stops touching the runway. La Voz de Galicia reported an unnamed crew member as saying. Iberia confirmed the facts while being unable to identify what type of spider had bit the pilot. The medical kit carried on the flight deck was used to calm the pilot's pain by treatment with oral antihistamines, allowing the flight to continue. The plane, an Airbus A320, which can carry up to 171 passengers, was fumigated in Dusseldorf and again on its return to Madrid, creating a 3-hour delay to its next journey to the Vigo, northwest Spain. What do you think?
That would suck. First of all, fuck spiders. But to get bit by a tarantula while you're taking off, that's an omen, dude. That's some Final Destination shit. No. Fuck that. To get bit by a tarantula,
How do you know this pilot's black?
I'm not saying he is.
Well,
he ain't American. He ain't American. But I know that tarantula is. No, that was
you know the tarantula is American?
Yeah.
What?
Made in
This
America.
plane's never even been to America.
Come on, man. I've seen arachnophobia. I know how this goes. No, that would be terrifying and shitty because that would be a big fuck off spider. It wouldn't be small. So if it bit you on the hand, that would suck. Tarantula bite's not going to kill you, though, but it would hurt. That'd be shitty. And everyone would see you, like, scream and jump like a bitch. They'd be like, damn, bro. Right? That would suck. I'm not into that. And they didn't tell the passenger. Of course not. There's a spider loose. There's some big-ass fuck-off spider that just bit the captain. No one can find it. Seatbelts on. Concessions will be out in a moment. Like, get the fuck out of here.
We're going to Madrid, baby.
And the cockpit's small. That would be tough. And you got bit and you're, like, taking off.
Whatever, but my cockpit's big, dude.
There we go.
Next article.
Oh, that's quick. All right, fine.
New Scientist by Michael LePage. Humans. Most Europeans may have had dark skin until less than 3,000 years ago.
Don't say that. Now they're all like, now they're going to be like, hey, look, I'm black, isn't it? Look at me.
Well, UK is not a part of Europe anymore, remember? Ancient DNA from 348 individuals suggests that pale skin became the predominant characteristic of people living in Europe much later than assumed. A study of ancient DNA from people who lived in Europe between 1700 and 45,000 years ago suggests that 63% of them had dark skin and 8% had pale skin, with the rest somewhere in between. It was only around 3,000 years ago that individuals with intermediate or pale skin started to become a majority. Until a few years ago, it was assumed that the modern humans who moved into Europe around 45,000 years ago rapidly evolved paler skin to ensure they got enough vitamin D during dark winters. Cells in the skin can make a precursor of vitamin D when exposed to ultraviolet light, but in darker skin, less ultraviolet reaches these cells. I didn't know this. However, this view has changed as it has become possible to sequence DNA from individuals who lived many thousands of years ago and to apply methods developed by forensic scientists to help identify suspects from DNA samples found at crime scenes. In 2018, for instance, researchers found that Cheddar Man, an individual who lived in Britain 10,000 years ago, probably had very dark skin and blue-green eyes. Such predictions about individuals have been criticized, though, as the genetics of pigmentation aren't fully understood, and so we can't be certain about the conclusions. Guido Barbugiani at the University of Ferrara in Italy. Barbugiani
Hey.
at the University of Ferrara in Italy and his colleagues have now predicted the skin, eye, and hair color of almost all of the ancient Europeans whose